Hey everybody, just wanted to give you kind of a overview of the course structure and how everything will go, just as an introductory thing. I will continue to post modules throughout the 8 weeks to update you about kind of where we are, and I will post those videos within announcements as well. So here I'm in my student view, so this is the home page, and if you see, this is support for Introduction to Statistics. Yay! If you click Start here, it will take you over to the modules, which you can also get to from here. You can click modules here. The homepage kind of gives you an idea of what your main statistics course is covering. And again, the main purpose of our class is to help support you in that class. So we are here to give you some personalized feedback, give you extra practice, give you some resources you can use to help deepen your understanding of these concepts. So, and then here's a little bit about me, and then here's another way you can get over to those modules. Okay, and the announcements is where you're going to find, again, at least weekly announcements from me, updating you about, I'll put in quotes, where you should be in theory in the class if you're keeping on pace, with the understanding that we all have various priorities in our lives and things like that. So that's more of a guideline than it is anything else. If we come on over here to modules, so this is where like everything basically is and how you will complete assignments in the class. So this very first module is College of the Desert Student Resources. So these are all very, very helpful things. Please take your time to walk through each of these pages in this module. And I want to clarify, once you go into a module, for example, this is the first page in this module, if you click on it. So it has a lot of information, and if you keep scrolling down, you'll notice in the bottom right, there's this little next button. And if you click on that, it'll take you to the next page in the module. So you can continue to click the next button through any modules, and it'll take you through every page, every assignment, every assessment, anything that is in the module. At any point, you're welcome to click back on this module link, and it'll take you back to that main page with all of the modules. Then we'll minimize that. Okay. So here's module 0, which is our orientation to this class. So in the overview is where I'm going to eventually post this video, and I will also post it in the announcements section. So here is, we're going to go ahead and kind of get started with the class in terms of meeting each other and kind of understanding how the class will operate. This is where I will put the video underneath this little thing here. So this describes what you will do in the module. And as a reminder, you can always hit next here to go to every page in this module. I'm not going to toggle through all of these. That's going to be your job, but I'm just kind of showing you what this looks like. And here are all of our modules. So what I want to point out on this page is the main, I'll say, function of the class and how you will pass the class. So module 0 is the orientation module that we are in technically right now. And then module 1 is kind of an introduction to how do we learn statistics, how can we think about statistics and study math, things like that. And it also includes what we will mention as weekly wellness assignments. So I'll talk about those in a minute. Those are going to be weekly assignments, very brief and shouldn't take very long. Then we have content modules. So all of these correspond to content that you're actually covering in your statistics course. So in this class, because this is non-credit and it's really meant to be a personalized experience for you, so like what do you need from the class, I don't want to make you do modules that you don't feel that you need. And I also don't want to overload you or burden you with assignments because I know that y'all are all very busy and have your own lives going on. So out of these content modules, modules 2 through 12, you will select at least 4 where you want more experience. So for example, some of you are taking a 16-week class right now in statistics. Some of you are taking an 8-week course that is either just starting. Who knows? We're all in different places. So let's say that you really would like more practice with scatter plots, linear relationships, and correlation. Then you can come on in and work through module 4. And I'll show you what those modules look like in a moment. But again, that's just kind of an idea. You'll pick at least 4. Feel free to do more than 4. if you want more practice and more experience with these things, go for it. Have at it. I'm here for it. And I'm always happy to offer feedback, things like that. So please, please, please participate as much as you, I'll say, are available and willing to participate in this class. There's just a minimum number that you need to do. Okay. I'm going to go back to modules. Again, I'm not going to go through the entire module 0. That's part of what you're doing this week. But in this very first module checkpoint, you will be introducing yourselves to the class. So you're going to have to do like a 2 truths and a tale, or maybe you've heard that as 2 truths and a lie. So that's kind of how we're going to briefly introduce ourselves, but also give an actual brief introduction about yourself. Like, why are you taking this class? Things like that. There's more details in the assignment. Okay, now guidelines and grading and things. Again, you will go through this, but I just want to briefly talk about how this will work. So you are required to complete Module 0 and Module 1. That's true for everybody. Past that, you need to select at least 4 of the remaining 11, and those are the content modules. And out of those, you can complete them. Again, you can complete more than 4, but it's just that you have to complete at least 4. And again, all of that involves me providing feedback, helping you learn. None of this is meant to evoke stress or anxiety for you. This is meant to be a helpful environment. Okay, I'll click on this in a minute, but we have weekly wellness assignments, check your understanding discussions, so you'll be posting your own work for things that I'll provide feedback on. Module checkpoints, so these are very kind of, usually very brief checkpoints within modules to kind of check in along the way as you go. And then we have module wrap-up challenges. These are kind of larger check-ins at the end of every content module. So they are longer, but again, you're checking in along the way, and then there's like one larger check-in. Now, to complete a module, you need to submit all of the assignments in the module, and then on all of the checkpoints and challenges, or the wrap-up challenge in that module, you need to score at least 70% average or better on all of those. If you need more explanation as to what that looks like, I'm happy to like make a video separately to show exactly how those would be incorporated. But your overall score in this class is really pass or not pass. So you'll see in your grade book there's a lot of assignments, but your actual grade is coming from 4 things. And that's, did you complete these 4 additional modules in addition to Module 0 and Module 1? I just assume you're going to do those because they're all required. Okay, that's that main idea there. And then, so you can click through to see what these are. I will make a separate video about Check Your Understanding discussions and how exactly to post in there and what those look like. Coming on down. The other thing here, this is optional. I'll let you look into that on your own. You do not have to do this. But it's fun, so go for it if you would like to. The main idea is I'm also teaching Stat C1000, so I'm teaching statistics, and I'm having my class. Some of you are in this class, but I'm having my class guess how many candy corns are in this jar. And so if you want to add a guess, which means you're adding data for us, please do. Okay, each module, this is module 1, so this one will look a little bit different too, but each module will have checkpoints and pages on them with information. Module 1 will also have your weekly wellness assignments. So weekly wellness for week 1, these will come out every week. This is 3 good things. You're looking for 3 good things that either happen or that you notice in your life this week. And you just need to tell me what those are. Okay, starting on the content module. So module 2 through module 12 are content. There typically will be an introduction page. This little icon over here indicates there's a page. This icon indicates it's either a checkpoint or a wrap-up challenge. So again, we're coming through here. These pages have information on them, kind of like background on what's going on in this section, if you will. And then coming back to our modules, scrolling down. Okay, so these pages have information. So again, if you want to toggle through these modules, it probably functions slightly easier than going back and forth like what I just did. So then you'll take these, I'll say smaller checkpoints. Notice some of them have like 4 questions. Some of them later on have 1 or 2 questions on each of them. They shouldn't, in theory, take very long, but on anything in this class, you're welcome to use any resources you want to. There's no restrictions on that, with the understanding that you have permission from your other instructor. So that I will mention that a lot, but if you're asking for help on a problem, it's with the understanding that your other instructor has in some way permitted you to ask for help, or ask for outside help. If this is a problem that is on a formal assessment that is supposed to be entirely your own work, then that would be considered academic dishonesty to get outside help in this class for that problem. I will be very clear about that within different modules, different pages, different videos. Okay, so again, going on in module 2, at the very end here, we see the check your understanding discussion. This will exist on all of the modules, the content modules. And then right above this, we see the module 2 wrap-up challenge. So at the end of every content module, there is a wrap-up challenge. And so this is a longer check-in, but on all check-ins, so that on any checkpoint, on any wrap-up challenge, you have an unlimited amount of attempts. You can use any resources. It's really meant to just help your brain process and synthesize the information that you have been reading about. Okay, and then briefly, because I try to keep these videos under 10 minutes, so I'm a little over right now, but there's just a lot of information. And the check your understanding discussions, I just want to briefly mention, you will be posting essentially two attempts on problems. Any problem, but relevant to the module. So module 2 is specifically about something. So as you're working through the module, pay attention to what questions you have. Pay attention to what questions from your class that you're taking correspond to this module. And then in this discussion, you'll post essentially your attempts at questions for those problems. And then I can provide feedback. You will also be commenting at least on one other thread. So there's not as much peer engagement here, but it is required that you, I'll say, look through the posts and comment / start a conversation on at least one other thread other than your own. Again, I'll make a separate video with more detail about this and things like that, but I just wanted to give an overview here because I'm here. So, okay, I think that kind of covers all of the main ideas of the structure of the class. And again, the pattern here exists in these content modules. So an introduction, several information pages, checkpoints, a module wrap-up challenge, and then check your understanding discussion. So be on the lookout for those. And again, you would be choosing 4 of the 11 content modules that exist, in addition to completing module 0 and module 1. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. And these videos won't usually be this long, but thank you for hanging in there with me. All right, thanks.